All right, guys, today we are going to talk about scales and why you are probably playing them wrong. Now, this is a guitar-specific video. Obviously, I'm a guitarist, and I'm going to be talking about something that I just recently learned about scales. Maybe you guys already knew this, but it's totally changed the way I think about practicing scales, and playing any line that is scale-like. All right, so we're going to dive into it. The PDF, the free PDF download, will have the scales and all the positions, since you guys know I like to do that. Instead of running through all that for this video, I'm going to keep it a little bit more interesting. We're going to run through a few examples after I've demonstrated this concept for scales, and we'll go through some lines that involve scale-like playing and show you why this technique is necessary and why it fits on guitar. Now, this isn't a technique that I came up with. This is one that I got from transcribing great jazz guitarists like Joe Pass, George Benson, Pat Metheny, etc. And what I noticed is they don't play their scales just up and down a position, or when they're playing a line that is scale-like, they're not just staying in a single position. And so this is a problem because if we're practicing our scales just in position, like position 1, position 2, in these vertical zones like you probably learned, when we go to play, when we go to improvise, we have a tendency to visualize the guitar in that way. And there's a big change that I realized. When we play scales going from lower notes to higher notes, we can play in position, right? In the same position. I'll demonstrate exactly how to do this. And that has one picking style, one type of picking style. And then when we want to go from high notes to lower notes going down a scale, we actually totally change the way we pick, because we can't take advantage of 2 down picks in a row. And the scale goes cross position. So let me demonstrate this before it gets a little bit too abstract. So say we're taking a G major scale, right? And I'll start in this position. If I want to go from this low G up the scale, I'll do down, up, down, up, down, down. So I can do 2 downs in a row because the strings are right next to each other and I can use gravity for that. So down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. Anytime I have those 2 strings, I'm going to do down, down to connect them. So down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. The problem is if I try and just alternate pick going back, I keep switching my pick going down and up and it'll get stuck. So like I had down there, my pick is caught behind the string. So for me to go up on the next string, I have to move my pick up here. I have to like physically lift it up and then get to the right string. It's not as efficient, and that's not how the guitar legends do it anyways. So we have this process going up, right? It's pretty smooth going that way. Really easy on the hand, and then you're just kind of doing that. When we want to go from high notes to lower notes, we actually change our direction of scale. We go up here. So what this looks like when we're going up the scale and then back down. So it looks a little bit confusing, but the key I want to show you guys when you're going from high notes to lower notes, when you're descending that scale, each of your strings, you should only be playing either 2 or 4 notes. And the reason for this, even number of notes per string on the descending side, is it makes sure our picking can be down up and that we always end that string with an up pick. So if it's 2 notes, we have down up and we're ending with an up, that frees up the pick here to then play on the next string. Or if we have 4 notes, it's down, up, and we still end with an up. So let me just do that descending side. So if we ended with this up pick here, and then I'm gonna do 2 notes. So I have to stretch to this F sharp, down, up, and now I'm gonna do 4 notes. So down, up, and then I'm gonna stretch for the next 2, down, up, and then down, up, and then 2, down, up. So we have 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. It's not always 2, 4 alternating. Sometimes you can do 2 notes per string in a row, depending on the position and which one feels better for you for the stretch. For my hand in this spot, it feels better to do it like that and going through there. So we can do that process through the whole fretboard, and like say if we're going to the next position. On the ascending, I'm doing those 2 downs in a row. Right, but then going back up, I'd have a different route. and it keeps it really light in the wrist. It's the only time I've felt like my wrist is pretty light for those scales. And what's cool is that technique seems to be transferring to my playing when I'm not playing just scales for technique practice and I'm playing lines. It's feeling a lot looser and my hand is more naturally playing things faster, easier. So let's take a couple lines as examples and see where we can do with that. So say let's start with this high to low. So the line I want to take first is this one. We can think about it like a 2-5 in G. So now these lines aren't as hip as we might want them, but this is just to demonstrate the technique. And then you can apply your own sort of substitutions and harmonic interest to them, but this will hopefully get the idea of the scale technique across and how you might apply that to a line. So if we're going through this one, we're starting on this B, down, up, down, up, down, up. So 2 notes, 4 notes, then down, down, since we're going across strings, up, and now I'm gonna leave that one since I just did 2 notes, and now my next string I'm gonna do 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 2 notes. And I can end with a down. So, It has sort of a classical sound since we're strictly playing the scale. Normally we might skip some notes, we might play more of an arpeggio, and that's gonna give it a more jazz sound. But for this, I'm just demonstrating the techniques. Our first line we have. Moving on to our next one, I'll move up to this position and we'll start with the ascending. So we could have two notes, and then 4. Meaning 4 notes we're playing, we can play it more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. B, A, G, F sharp, and I'd go back to G. So the line would start on upbeat, so. Hopefully you hear how like clear that sounds and how articulated it is, but it's also very easy to play. I'm not having to force anything. And now for our last line, we will be in this position, and we'll start with a little embellishment. So down, up, pull-offs. Down, up. So we have 2 notes in a row, then 4, 4. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Takes us out of position from where we were, and then we can go back into position. So our line is, again, still over sort of a 2-5 sound. I'm finding this especially helpful when I want lines going from high to low. Before I've had a lot of trouble with that. But guys, check out the free PDF below. If you've dug this lesson, subscribe, comment. I'll have a lot more like this. If you guys have any specific topics you'd like to request, definitely let me know in the comments and I will get to them. Awesome. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.